So, maybe I can just take this apart and use this as a thing.
Good
Welcome to
morning.
First Yesterday. We're gonna come up with like a new intro every time.
And a new outro because you can't remember.
What? Just stay fresh.
Exactly.
That's how we should open up. Stay fresh. Nice wink. No, I was just describing to Hannah how I saw another from this baker channel on the YouTubes, another type of baker's log that's like this one except it's round and it's just got a little screw in the middle, and you just clamp the blade between the two pieces of wood, and but it's like you hold it like this, you know, so it's very manageable, very easy to handle. I'm gonna score these.
Starting off the day, scoring some baguette.
And we're gonna throw them in the oven and
Inside the baker's studio, we've got all the baker things because Garrett bakes bread. Did you guys know that?
some people might know that.
Yeah.
Let's see how these guys go today. Woo. Maybe they're gonna be overproofed. We'll find out.
Scoring on a chain. Scoring on the light.
You know, they have a lot of songs about it.
They do. If you guys
Doughboy.
don't listen to The Breakfast, we highly recommend The Breakfast.
Score.
It's
Doughboy,
food and it's music.
Boo-boos, boo-boo, booties, boo-boo.
Is that bread related?
It's all about bread.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh. Into the oven it goes. Ready? 3,
This is no, don't count down.
10, 9.
Just look how sideways they are. You know how I usually do this. It's great.
The baguettes are really long today, folks.
Woo!
Woo! Ha-ha!
That was it. Okay. So, just gonna strike them out, just in case, so they don't like totally run into each other, because it looks like they're going to. But hopefully they just bake up, not out, because they're already pretty well.
Don't they
out.
normally bake up? They're pretty wide in terms of
Yeah, they are
baguettes.
very wide right now. So.
Little steam action. Woo! Way to go, Gar.
That was a good one. I was nervous for a minute there because it looked pretty sketchy on the board there.
Sketch-a-letch. So, today, I thought you could share with us, Garrett, you know, why you got into baking and how you choose your ingredients, the flours that you use. I think speak to a large reason of why you might have gotten into baking in the first place.
Yeah, in a certain sense. You know, I think as some people know and some people don't know, I did attend a university.
What?
And at said university, I studied a little bit of food science, and I think that was my first introduction to bread as a more interesting food, let's say. Like, I think we all, as adolescents, and unless you're brought up in a family that like bakes bread regularly, you don't have a really great relationship with bread. You know, it is sliced, right? Like, bread is sliced. There's no such thing as an unsliced loaf. You know, it's typically white, it's typically square. You know, there's all these things that all these expectations we have about bread, and I think this major at UNH really helped me look at it, but really just going to Europe, seeing some of the traditional European breads, and the relationship with bread in Europe, I just think is more traditional, has more historical significance, and yeah, that was at least where like the seed was started, and then this just kind of fell into our lap. This was just an insane decision that nobody was really planning, and but it's been a wonderful journey so far, and you know, we're really we're so lucky to be able to make food in this space and utilize it for the market. It's a luxury.
Yeah,
really.
It's a privilege.
Yeah, truly is. So, but beyond that, I mean, I've just loved. I love transformation processes of food. You know, I've worked in a lot of different places, but I never like plated. I was never actually like that part. I loved like making the sauces and doing all those little things, like the behind the scene work that you don't really always scene. Maybe that's why it's called behind the scenes. But, but just, just making sausage is such an important thing, and a lot of places just buy it out of a container and just squirt it on, and it's just not, I've always been really interested in scratch cooking and scratch baking, and it all really just came together, and it's
being open to the flexibility of the process.
Yeah, and I'm certain I will continue to learn as we move forward with this bakery. There's no question, even when you think you have it, you learn something new.
So how are you learning more in terms of choosing your ingredients? Like, what have you learned about flour and
I think I first started with regular, just normal flour, all-purpose flour you can get at the store, and I think organic flours have become more and more available, and with more information about gluten intolerance and the effect of organic flours and sourdough, I've learned a lot about how our intolerances aren't necessarily, they are new. They're not old, right? These aren't old things. We were talking about how bread is the reason we've had such a global expansion on this earth over the last millennia, right? It's not that was a reason why we could have a population and sustain a population. But we've moved away from natural fermentation. We've gone to short, quick fermentation. This videos I've been watching from this, it's called Proof Bread, I think, on YouTube, or Proof Bakery out in Arizona. He's explaining how 10 grams of yeast, of instant yeast, like 10 grams. I mean, we're talking a teeny amount. That's like 2 tablespoons maybe, is equal to 50 kilograms of liquid sourdough. So the potential, right? So just think of that. That's like 5,000 times stronger. That is insane. And you can just think about the processes that are going on. With sourdough, it's a long fermentation that aids in digestion. And that's why bread was so good, because you got so much out of it. It was a really, really important, integral part of our diet. And it was because it was long fermentation, it was whole grains, and it was all pretty much organic, because we had no
glyphosate.
We had the glyphosate. We would plant rye along your wheat, and if you had a wheat failure, and I move this way 2 seconds, you're just really close to the baguettes.
Oh, bad. Wow. Let's see. Are you okay? Oh, so sorry. Oh, la 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 la.
So close.
So you planted rye.
Failure, you would have rye as a backup. Instead, now you just spray everything and make it so you get wheat, and that's now we have less relationships with these other grains that we can still bake with. It's still have a relationship with. We're gonna peek just to see what happened.
Oh, they're looking great. No?
Not quite.
They're not.
To load this one soon too.
Yeah, well, let's come over here because it's really loud. If we can. So I think we're seeing with our supply chain and bread kind of the same thing in other supply chains. We've hyper-focused on efficiency, right? Time efficiency, profit efficiency, and in that process, we've sacrificed resilience and we've sacrificed nutrition.
Definitely a sacrifice of nutrition. There's no question that the speediness of instant yeast, it makes it hard for the bread to be digested.
Right.
Now that's just no question. Also with white flours, you removed all of the healthy parts of the flour, right? Like all of the other parts. Every other, there's no fiber in white flour.
Yeah.
The fiber comes from the outside of the endosperm and from the chaff, or not the chaff, but from
the grain, right?
Yep, but the outside of it, not the whole grain, but just like the sheath on the outside of it. Anyway.
So it's enriched. It basically just turns right to sugars in our body. It doesn't have any other contribution to our bloodstream. And so that's why bread is just as bad as desserts. Enriched white flours are just as bad as eating a cake, really, in terms of what it does in your body and your bloodstream. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I still do white baking, and it's not, because you still need to do what people want. But I think moving toward more whole grains and more, just trying to do more sourdough, like natural leavening, really, not just like sourdough breads, because, sourdough is also turned into a commercial thing. Really, you just, if you see sourdough at the store, it's apparently just been, lactic acid has been added, and you'll see it as a line on the ingredient, which is trying to mimic lactobacilli.
Right.
That's what it's trying to emulate, and because it has a sour flavor, because it's very acidic, it can pass as sourdough.
Right. Well,
it really has nothing to do with sourdough. The sliced sourdough bread you get at a restaurant, unless you know that they bake it in house, it is not really sourdough.
Yeah.
I'm almost certain of it.
And that's another example of, the an example of a type of greenwashing where people,
Absolutely.
These industries, they take these labels of what they think the customers want, the sourdough or the organic, and they'll find a way to slap it on that label so that it's purchased. But what we know is if we actually know each other who's producing the food, if we actually know Baker Garrett, we know that what he's saying is sourdough is actually sourdough.
Yes, it's naturally leavened. It probably took 24 hours. Now you can imagine that in that 24-hour period, a lot of activity is going on inside that dough, right? I mean, a lot of activity, and a lot of enzymatic function, which is the same kind of stuff that's going on in your gut and in your body. Like, we have enzymes in our bodies that do help us do digestive work. I won't speak any more to that.
He's a baker and a scientist.
I'm going to transfer these ones too. I think they're going to be, I can't tell if they're a little, I don't know what's going on in the oven right now. So I have recently...
Thanks, Mike. Mike called you the sourdough king.
Mike
Heffernan.
Oh, thanks for tuning in, Mike. Mike's been helping us with our, with one of your projects.
Well, that's right. But not only is there baking happening in this kitchen, but one program we do is we provide fresh produce for 8 families through the Bradford Elementary School, through our partner, Nurse Stephanie over there. So volunteers like Mike Heffernan come in and they'll chop carrots. He chops carrots for the family so that the kids who are eating this produce have a nice handy snack, a nice handy fresh snack.
Yep. Something they can really just, grab and go.
Yeah.
Ready to eat.
Thank you, Mike, for helping us out with that.
Help, Mike. Thanks so much.
This week we were able to send, carrots, strawberries. Garrett bakes loaves of bread for them, bags of salad mix, hummus. Yeah, it's a good bounty this week for our friends here in Bradford.
Well, how wonderful. I'm sorry that this timing was not as...
Oh, it's perfect. We basically just popped on to hear a little bit more about Garrett, why Garrett does what he does. Because it's connected. It's more than just bread. It's more than just baking and mixing dough, and it is that. It's a lot of that, but it's also messing up a baguette every now and then.
Totally stuck. But you can tell how look how much. It's just very supple. Where's my
Great word.
Do you like that one? It's not as bad as moist.
Moist is a tough one. People have a hard time with that.
I do.
Yeah.
I imagine I have a harder time. I feel with supple.
Supple's tough.
I think that it's in the same realm of funny words for me.
That's right.
I'm going to do something
Very evocative.
a little silly because this is not ready. These are not done, but that is ready.
So this is the kind of makeshift stuff you kind of got to do in the baker.
Work, be on your toes.
Work your magic.
Do you know the line from?
Also, always washing hands. That's important. And this week, guys, on our website and from the door at Sweet Pea Market, we have Sesame, Semolina, sourdough.
Oh yeah, you can come in today.
Come in
and
today.
get a fresh loaf.
It's Garrett's favorite loaf.
Absolutely my favorite loaf. It's beautifully, naturally leavened.
How are you going to do this, Garrett? we're gonna find out.
I'm just going to load the next one underneath it. Quick little speed because that's a lot of flour in there. Close it back up. Warm up a second.
Get that temp back up to speed, eh?
Yep.
So guys, we're thinking about switching our time. Thursdays at 10 a.m. We've done a lot of cool stuff at this time slot. We're thinking about trying a Friday thing. And we could try lunch hour, Garrett, if you want.
I think that's a good, as long as that works for you.
Sure, I can sacrifice what I had going on. I can sacrifice my whole life for you, Garrett.
Well, didn't you already do that for John?
That's right, I did, the marriage thing. But this is a work sacrifice. It's a different realm. So what do you guys think? We'll pop on Friday at noon. Hopefully it's not tomorrow, next week. It hopefully will be more tempting to people to blow off work and hop in and see what we're up to.
On your lunch break, check your phone and hopefully we'll just be jabbing away.
Jib jab.
Jib jab, jib jab.
We'll watch one more score and then we'll...
Wasn't really thrilled about how those scored last time. They're looking definitely a little flat.
Are they flat?
They could be overproved, but it's just not. I think they are.
We would never notice as the lay person.
Yeah.
The lay
I was trying to
baking
let them go a little longer because they hadn't been.
You've been having a bit of a tough time, huh?
Issues, so.
Oh, you guys know, right? Baguette issues. Whew.
Issues.
Garrett's got issues.
Okay. Here we go. I get to do the countdown.
Oh gosh, you're the owner of your own destiny. Good for you, Garrett. Way to be.
Oh my gosh, so much overhang though. Definitely. I mean, luckily none of them grew into each other. I mean, you want to be friends, but you know, you don't want to be kissing cousins.
What?
You know.
Yeah, that's too old school. We don't.
Okay, that's the first one not being done.
All right. Well, while they're in there and you just finish that, we'll finish up this. So basically what we're saying is there's a bunch of reasons why this bakery matters to Garrett and why it matters to community and why it matters to our individual health as eaters.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Right on. I feel like I learned a lot. Just buying a package of bread from the grocery store might be a little more costly than we think in terms of our health and
I know you've said it before, but yeah, next time you do it, take a look at the list of ingredients and really, contemplate whether or not that's what you want to be putting in your body on a regular basis. You know? The
and
cost of those ingredients in your body has a value.
Yeah.
You know? And it is important to make those distinctions in your life if you can.
Yeah.
You know?
And you'll notice a different price tag on our breads. It has been mentioned to us. We're not skirting the reality that it's more expensive to buy Garrett's baked breads, but that's because the ingredients that are chosen, the process that is undergone to bake the bread, it all is really valuable. And that's what's reflected in what we charge for the bread. And unfortunately, breads that are very cheap, they've sacrificed a lot of that along the way to attain that price.
Mechanization, cheapness of ingredients in general. You know, a lot of flour is bleached so that it lasts longer, so you can buy, you know, thousands of pounds at a time, and you're making it without the bread ever touching a human hand. You know, I use machines. You know, obviously we have ovens and I have mixers and stuff like that, but it's utilizing the technology in a minimal way, but that it's still it's really to save small bits of time over the whole process. But yeah, there's
but it's really your hands and the flour and the ingredients, and that's what makes it greater than the sum of its parts.
Absolutely.
Really.
Absolutely. So,
All right, Garrett. Thanks for sharing with us.
Man. We're gonna stay fresh.
Woo!